you think about the feral cat situation in the county, it's a county-wide problem. It's not just this shelter's problem. And so because it's a county-wide situation, we really felt that it needs a county-wide effort in terms of finding solutions.
Well, the situation is not unique to Medford or Jackson County. It's a nationwide problem of cats who have been let loose to roam, whether they go out every night from someone who owns them or were dumped or grew up wild, are forming these colonies. And these colonies over time and successive generations become more and more feral. Feral means that they are wild. They, in most cases, the adults are not tameable. And they are not inoculated. They're certainly not spay and neutered, so they're spreading disease. They're multiplying. They're destroying property. They're being a nuisance. You name it. This is a national problem. The task force is sort of an outcrop of the Max incident, which I think everyone is aware of. But the alliance of these 5 organizations, which is SNP, CATS, Southern Oregon Humane, Jackson County Animal Care and Control, and FOTUS, the Friends of the Animal Shelter, really was sort of an awareness before Max that these groups had historically not had a strong relationship. I was sort of the new guy in town, didn't know animal welfare, didn't know nonprofits, so just started asking a lot of questions, reaching out to my peers, and they expressed a desire to get together, and so we did.
The alliance came about of some very terrible things that had happened, and that had happened specifically to feral cats and specifically owned cats. And it's been very evident that there was a lot of misinformation going on. So the alliance came together to say, you know, we can all work together. There is a solution out there to this problem. And it is a problem with all of the cats that are wandering the streets, that are uncared for, and don't have a home.
Since we are spay-neuter and deal with a lot of feral cats and trapping and a lot of cat issues on overpopulation across the whole valley, we have a pretty good handle on the reality of what's going on in our community. Plus we work with all the vets in the valley, so we understand it from that aspect too of what's happening at their clinics. So we were asked to join the task force, and we've met 3 times and then presented to the county.
The purpose of tonight's meeting and one of the goals, or some of the goals of the meeting, are to provide you with an opportunity to hear updates on current efforts and to introduce this alliance or task force which has been formed to address cat problems in Jackson County.
What we're really talking about is, bottom line is irresponsible pet ownership. This is a people problem, not a cat problem.
One cat in particular, I trapped on 9 different occasions.
Going on 5 years now, I'm pretty much at the end of my rope with options.
So I'm very confused about how this money is sitting there, probably drawing 1% interest when animals are dying.
I'm a very big animal lover, but I think we have to forget to be too sentimental about this subject.
We also had an idea about a taxation in the water and the power bill, and creating that was also like a tax write-off. But we didn't put it to a general fund, we did it to a appropriated fund. So we had more control over it. So it actually went to the animals.
Why can't we do like a feral sanctuary just for these feral cats, an outdoor cat, kind of like Cave Junction has, to where they can be spayed and tested for infectious diseases and then released into the safe environment?
Why do we treat cats different than we treat dogs in this county? They should be licensed, they should be controlled, they should not be picked up, fixed, and thrown back out to survive. It's a horrible world out there for a cat.
And if I'm not mistaken, your mission statements state that you will educate the public, and that's not happening. People will do things if they're educated.
It was a very valuable time to sit there. As task force members, we were charged with sitting and listening. And if you could watch us, we were all scribbling. We had so many notes. All of those notes and the questions that the people ask have all been consolidated. And we're continuing to ask more questions. We are meeting continuously to try to come to the best answer.
The thing that struck me most about that was that even in a room full of, 75 people who have an interest in animal welfare issues, there was a a strong cry for better education and better delineation of all of our organizations. So we think, each of us, that we're doing a good job of communicating with the public, that we're doing a good job of educating on spay and neuter, on trap, neuter, and release, on animal adoptions, on handling strays. But if a population that is interested in animal welfare isn't hearing that message, it means no one is hearing that message.
It's going to be a long time. There is no immediate fix because there is no simple answer to this problem. But one of the things that I believe, and the CATS organization, as well as a lot of members of the task force believe, is that it needs to be education. We have got to educate people on responsible pet ownership.
We're going to continue on with our charge. Basically, it's education, programs, and legislation or regulatory issues. And our goal is to really go out there and find best practices and measure those against what we're doing here.
The tough part right now is trying to bring together those people who have a lot of experience with animal welfare here in the county and also in other places that they've worked, to come up with a set of recommendations that we feel have a viable chance of working in this county.
So it is, to me, an opportunity to make a difference as a community on how we address the feral cat and community cat population. It's an opportunity we can't waste. And I think the commitment you see from all the organizations, from the public, from volunteers, from the advisory board, and from the county is now is the time. Let's make the right decisions, but let's make decisions.